Hey everyone, it's Penguin Bond back with another Unscripted Fridays. Joined today by Analog Man. He has his camera on. Mine, as you guys know from the last video, was on the fritz, so I didn't feel like waving at the screen every 2 seconds. So I'm just gonna be sitting here with my pretty voice, not my okay-ish face. But today we are here to talk about everyone's favorite time, which is restricted card announcements and ban card announcements, or should I say restricted card announcement. Singular, one card. Analog,
Yep.
what's your take on this?
Um, Very disappointing. Very disappointing because I know for a fact that a lot of people wanted more. They wanted Melga hit, they wanted Grandis hit, they wanted actually even Crossheart because they all were at nationals. So it's like they just want something. I feel like everybody just wanted it similar to like Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's like they just hit like all the meta decks, maybe like hit one or two cards each, maybe. But it's like I kind of understand Bandai's idea. It's like, oh, there was a lot of Black War Greymon representation, but at the same time, hitting Gray X, just Gray X doesn't do anything. Somebody did mention that it does hurt War Greymon, in the BT12, but I have like two people at my locals that play Greymon, and they have like how many Greymons at this point? Like maybe 10 of them,
These
especially
something like
for like
that.
red or black. Yeah, it's fine. They don't care. They're just like, oh, I'll play this one or the jamming one or whatever. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so for everyone who's looking at the screen, as you know, we all woke up this morning to it on the Twitter. But for it, it specifically says the effect of reducing the cost when digivolving from this card to a Digimon that has Greymon in its name allows you to digivolve into BT12 Metal Greymon or BT9 Metal Greymon X Antibody too efficiently, accelerating the speed at which the deck reduces the opponent's security and its comeback potential. Additionally, this card's inherited effect gives resistance to a number of effects and overall increases the effectiveness of Greymon decks more than expected. Therefore, we have determined blah 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 down to one. With that being said, that one sentence accelerated the speed at which the deck reduces the opponent's security. Every other deck you just mentioned there can do the same thing, but none of their pieces was hit. What is there just bad wording to this? Is there a reason to this, or are they just saying, black and red decks cannot be powerful? We're going to focus on blue and green.
Yeah, I feel no. So with Bandai, what they do, I've noticed through the sets, they tend to give more leeway to blue and yellow, especially yellow because they let yellow hybrid go on for way too long. I mean, I was playing it too, but it's like they hit it I honestly feel they hit it at the wrong time because they could have left the yellow hybrid hit now, like right now when they hit gray X, that would have been fine because yellow hybrid, as I mentioned before in one of our previous videos, it was holding it was that deck that kept some of the OTK like decks in check because if it wasn't around, they would have like what we had as a format, just only stack decks. And that's boring because all you do is, okay, I'm going to push Melga up. Okay, I'm going to push Grandis up. Okay, I'm going to put up Black War Greymon. That's everybody is just making a giant stack and hoping to God that it doesn't die. And everybody did it except for Crossheart players and, blue flares occasionally, and that's what made the format super boring for me personally because it's just like, oh, we're all doing the exact same thing but a different color. That's it.
Now, do you think if BT11 was not legal for nationals because it came out the week before, do you
That's
think
true.
if BT11 was not legal for nationals, this restricted list would be completely different?
Yes, it would absolutely because the thing is Black War, like everybody was predicting Black War Greymon X would be really strong, and it was. But at the same time, I know for a fact that a lot of the players that did play it bricked a lot. I personally was playing it and it bricked nonstop. And almost every other player I talked to said, "Oh yeah, I lost because I just didn't draw like what I needed." And I feel that the deck was overhyped. And I feel that, like other decks like Crossheart and Grandis were actually much, much better because even though green has literally no draw power. It only has the memories and maybe like one or two rookies. It can still do more and kill things faster than Black War Greymon X. So I feel if it was just like BT10 and that, I think they would have honestly hit Crossheart and Grandis more because Grandis just kills everything way too fast. And then Crossheart just rushes you too. So it's kind of like the same thing in like Pokemon, like in competitive, like in the video game, it's like a lot of the times it comes down to speed. Like everything is speed, and if it had just been those two decks, they would have honestly hit like I don't know, they might have hit like the King Shoutmon or something in the
Mm-hmm.
deck to hurt it. Like some people were saying, hey, hit the yellow tamer because it keeps them from drawing or something. Or in Grandis, as I was thinking like, oh, they might hit like Okua because the one. That way they would have to play the old one to kind of like still do the same thing, but not really. So
Yeah, I mean,
it,
now to be fair, Crosshearts did get a lot of support from BT11.
oh, yeah.
Greymon obviously got a lot of support from BT11. But it feels like this decision was because the top 32 was at least half Black War Greymon. They were like, no, we can't do this. When in all reality, it wasn't even that the deck was, as you said, it wasn't that the deck was good, it's that the deck was hyped to be unbeatable. And
Yep.
because so many people played it, it's like a self fulfilling prophecy. We all played it, so now it gets taken away. But now everyone's just going to go back to Melga and Grandis.
Yep.
But does
That
this one thing really do what Bandai is trying to do? Does it change how the game is currently going, the direction it's going? Is it really a meta changer, or is it just a we're doing our best, but it is what it is?
I think it's the latter because taking out Greymon X doesn't do anything. Melga can still be in the meta. In the OCG, I know that for the longest time the promo where Garurumon was banned, so that deck could not perform. But here we have unlimited power with that, and because of that, Melga is probably still just as strong. I would say it's stronger because next set we're getting a deck that's basically it's like the sequel to Crossheart, but even better. And I feel that it can actually outspeed Metal Garuru easily. Like I've seen gameplay of it, and it just goes off. So I think them hitting this will mainly slow down the War Greymon deck that was topic like it's been doing really well in the OCG, but at the same time you can't really judge by OCG because they do best of one sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the thing that they, as I mentioned, they have so many other options. It's going to slow the deck down, obviously. Like they can't do the easy evolution cost, but there's so many other ways to get around it. There's like Nokia, there's Cool Boys. You can run like more of a stack engine to make it cheaper with Cool Boys because Cool Boy is not hit. X Antibody ain't hit. So you still have all the other stuff. So it doesn't do much. It's still going to be there. It's just not going to be like the top. It'll be like in the middle of tier one or maybe towards the bottom, but it'll still be there.
So does this cause everyone to re-examine their Black War Gray X decks, or to literally just say, okay, I had four of this card, now I have one, I just need to pick three new cards?
I mean, like for me personally, like the build that I was running at Nationals, I ran both. I ran the new Greymon X and the old one. So in my case, by fixing it, I would just increase the old one back to 4. Maybe put back the security one, the
Mm-hmm.
one that checks for an extra security, and that's it. You don't really need to do much modifying. Like you don't even need to put the X antibodies in anymore. Like maybe you could put like 2 in, just to evolve. But aside from that, like you don't rely on it anymore. You with cool. The issue was Cool Boy because if your opponent had 2 Cool Boys on the board, you would just go, oh hey, so I gained back 2 memory. I'm back at 4, and I'm just going to evolve into the big guy. Do that swing with X antibody, then evolve. Done every time.
So their whole thing about accelerating the speed, you can still do that with every other piece you have that was not hit.
Yeah, Greymon it's still red. Red is by default in like an aggressive deck. So it doesn't matter if you take away one piece. They have like several other pieces that will just speed them up anyway. It doesn't matter. So it'll hurt, as I said, the BT12 War Greymon. But Black War Greymon X now and like other Greymon decks like War Greymon X, they don't care. they don't even run it. They run the old stuff. So they're like, okay, cool. I can still check for 7 security and delete a guy and gain memory off of the checks too. So doesn't matter.
And my whole thing with this is with the restricted one. If you look back at all the other announcements, even from back on November 11th, when
Oh
they
yeah.
did Calling from Darkness, Sunrise Buster, Doru Greymon, Shoutmon times four, you had 4 cards hit all at once. You go back to August 1st, you had Jet Sylphie and Tommy back when that was a whole disaster.
That's the worst format. God, it's just you can't play Digimon. It was like you can't play the format. It's awful.
Speaking of that, on February 25th was the very first, very first in 2022, completely banned card with the Mega Digimon Fusion.
Oh, that
But
card was busted.
also on that, you had the limit of 1 to Reinforcing and limit of 1 to Ice Wall, and then going even back further for Savior Huck, Eismon. It's always multiples that they did. In my opinion, and it seems like in a few other opinions, Bandai is either one, giving up, two, doesn't have a dedicated team to support this, or three, is actively just like, we don't really know what's going to happen with the meta in North America, so now the ban list is going to reflect our lostness. And it just, I don't know, to me it feels like we're getting pushed out of the game unless you're running a single stack deck.
Yeah, it feels like you either have to do that or well, I mean, as you saw in nationals, Crossheart did really well because I feel that it's the only other deck at the moment, aside from the 3 main stack decks, that can actually do something. Every other deck is irrelevant. Like, I don't mean to be mean to all Force players and was another deck that oh yeah, Machine Dramon or any other deck that isn't the main three. It's it really sucks, like honestly, because like to beat them, you have to outspeed them. But the only deck I can think of aside from Crossheart, maybe Blue Flare, but even then, it's really rough for them. So it's kind of like right now, you either have to play Crossheart or you have to play Black War or one of the other two. Like last week on my like my or at my locals, I
Mm-hmm.
won with Crossheart, and it's funny because I used a deck list that I actually got from somebody at nationals that got top 16 with it. It was a really broke build, and the funnier thing is that it can beat Black War Greymon X, but you have to do some weird things to do it. Like I was holding back my hand for like 5 turns. I only put out maybe 2 tamers in like the 10 minutes we were playing. I only put out 2 tamers and I kept everything else in hand because I was baiting them out. That's like the only way to beat Black War Greymon X or the other decks is to bait them out and then go in it for the kill. And that's the problem, is that you have to wait for them to to push up from raising. And that's kind of inherently busted because you can't really do anything to them until they make the first move. And sometimes their first move is really powerful. So
Well, it's
you're
like you
already,
said, sometimes their first move is swinging for 7 checks, so it's like
oh
you're
god,
coming up
yeah.
from raising, you're swinging for 7. I can't respond to that regardless of what I do.
At least with Wargreymon X, if they do that, they kill your guy, but at the same time, with Crossheart or Blue Flare, you save your guy and you get to do it again on them next turn. But Black Wargreymon just says, "No, I'm going to pop your tamer. You lose all your sources and everything."
So do you
It's
think that Hades Force is going to be a more up and coming card because they took this out? People are going to be like, well, I'll fix my ratios with fours, but now I'm going to run Hades Force at a 3 or a 4 of.
I don't think they would honestly risk that because Hades Force is very conditional. You still have to build, like the best way to use it is to build up into the level 6. But running more than 2 is asking for bricks, like just asking for bad hands every time. Because if you open like both of them, I've actually had matches where I've opened 2 of those in my hand out of the 5 cards, and it ruined my plays because you can't use it because you don't have rookies, you don't have the level 4s in hand, you don't have the level 5s. You have to maximize on those to get to that point so that so you can draw into the Hades Force. You don't want to run like so many to just brick into them.
True. I can see that. Now, as you know, I don't really play Greymon or the Black
Oh,
Red
don't,
deck.
don't.
It's
It's boring. It's boring.
oof. I'm gonna stick with my Commandramon, which still
Oh
gets
yeah,
rushed down by everything.
yeah. Nah,
But
it's fine.
with the Ultimate Cup, with all this, with the restricted card announcement, do you see the stock on the promo Garurumon and the promo level 4 for Melga? Do you see that going up, or do you see? I think it's sitting around like $5 right now. Do
I
you
feel
see
like
it going up?
I think it might go up because with the Ultimate Cup being monocolor, at like I know for a fact that Melga doesn't care if they have the X antibody. I've been able to actually just evolve into like for example, normally if you had to wear Guru X, you would just go, oh, I evolve, I swing for 2 checks at 10,000 or something. Or in the case of the Ultimate Cup, you would just go, okay, I turn into Sagittarius mode for zero cost and then go, oh no, I turned into the level 6 and I unsuspend and I swing anyway. And then they go, oh, I just drew Blitz anyway, because most of the time they'll have the promo Garuru that lets them draw cards. So you go, oh, I drew the Blitz. Cool. Game. It doesn't matter because they can still unsuspend even without the Were Guru X. I don't even know why they banned it from the tournament. It doesn't do anything because they're still just gonna check you for multiple security during that turn. It's the promo that they needed to limit to make the deck not as fast. I don't know why they even hit the Were Guru. It's
Well, and I
weird.
think a lot of people were thinking they would hit the promo with the restricted announcement that it would either be limited to 2, 1, or 0, so everyone sold out, and it just plummeted the price a little bit. But
Yeah,
with it
but
not being on the list,
what's gonna happen with the price now is that it's just gonna go back up and just stay at like maybe $4 or $5 like it was before and just stay there because now that there's no danger, because as Bandai they literally never do these ban lists like consistently. They just come out of nowhere and just say, hey, there's a list. So everybody's safe for now at least. So that means the price will just kind of steady out at this point.
so you don't see them looking at results from Ultimate Cup, results from the upcoming regionals, and being like, hey, green and blue need to be hit, or is it going to be more of they're going to look at results in 6, 7, 8 months after the meta's stale again?
I feel they're not going to be looking at it through the Ultimate Cup. They'll be looking at it through the eyes of how do we sell more product? Because the reason I know the reason why they didn't hit X antibody or Cool Boy. It's because they need to sell the new Beals structure deck that's coming out in what, 2 weeks? I think, right? It's coming out at the end of this
Actually, no,
month.
it pre-released today.
Oh, damn. Okay, yeah, never mind. Yeah, no, I think my pre-release is next week. So, yeah. So they don't want to hit Cool Boy or anything like that because if they hit it, then nobody's gonna buy the structure deck except for Beals fans, because everybody's like, oh yeah, I want that Altart X antibody, That's the
Mm-hmm.
whole point behind it. And then same with or hitting Melga and Grandis. Um, One of the most played decks in BT12 is Grandis and Bloomlord because of the Quartzmon combo. Because you just end your turn by just suspending everything on the board. So they're not going to hit Grandis. They're not going to hit Bloomlord either, or anything green, honestly, because they want to be able to sell Quartzmon. And then with Melga, oh no, they're not going to touch it for months because they announced the next two starter decks, which is a Greymon and a Metal and a Garurumon. So unless it's a purple deck for Garuru, because purple Garuru hasn't gotten any support in like ever.
Forever.
Yeah, yeah, basically. So if it's not purple and it's blue again, oh, they're not gonna want to hit anything on Melga at all. They're gonna want people to keep the cards and want to buy to fix their decks up because most likely is that the new Metal Guru will be way better than the one that most Melga players use right now. The EX1 that
Mm-hmm.
reduces cost. So they'll be like, oh, I need to buy that structure deck to fix my deck to make it more powerful. So they're not gonna hit it either. It's all about money in the case of Bandai. Bandai is all about that.
Which is really
Even
weird because I do One Piece now, and One Piece it's like a pain in the butt to find. Where if they flooded the
Oh
market, they'd sell out.
my God. No, I remember like somebody showing me like a smoker card, and it's like, oh, that thing's like what, like $80, and I'm like, what,
Yeah,
bro?
there's
Like,
a promotional smoker if you won the super pre-release. That thing's in the
yeah,
hundreds. The alt art leader is like 100 and something. It's crazy.
I think mainly like for One Piece, I think the main issue is, they know that the anime is super popular here in the States, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, okay, we can make these cards really like half of the good cards promos. That way they're worth hella money and people will like buy more product. But then you have scalpers, and then scalpers ruin that, just like they do with every other card game, especially in like 2020 and 2021. So, eh, with Digimon, it's like I don't know how they go about thinking with this, because it's like North America still doesn't have those security promo rookies. The ones the Impmon and the was it the rookie
Oh
evolution
yeah,
of
I
Hex.
thought they were coming out in the reprint set. Are they not?
I there's no announcement on it. I thought they were, but I don't know. Maybe they might have put it in. I don't know, because nobody's paying attention to the reprint set, because it has okay stuff, but it's mostly like Gamamon stuff. Like if you're a Gamamon fan, hell yeah, that's the set you need to spend hella money on, because you're gonna be getting all your good stuff. But for everybody else, it's like, oh, cool, I get a foil of something that I already have, but it's not as good.
It's
It's
that old. We have that at home.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, oh, we have that. That's fine. Is whatever. Like the only thing I want from it is the foil purple Karis. That's it.
I could see that. That is a nice foil on it.
It looks great, but it's like, am I really gonna spend the money to buy like more than 2 boxes of that? Hell no. No. Nah. I'll be saving that for EX4 when Alter S comes out and he starts jogressing even faster than Mastamon.
True.
Yep,
Speaking
that'll
of
be
going back to the ban list, though, one card that I saw a lot of people speculating that would actually be coming off of the ban list, I don't know if it was true thought or just hope, was Jet Sylphie. Will
Oh my.
Bandai ever do a, hey, we took it, we put it on the ban list, we're sorry we did that, it's now off the ban list?
I mean, they could now, especially now that Black War Greymon X is in the meta now. You could honestly put it to 4, and they would still get bodied a little bit. Like they could like maybe start the first 2-3 turns healing up, and then they would just get their tamers blown up. So it would be fine to go to 4. It's just it would enable other plays, like it would allow you to just abuse Venusmon and just, end your turn by evolving into that and stopping your opponent. So it would be their main deterrent against Black War Greymon X. So at least it'd be a level playing field. But, I mean, yeah, it'd be fine. Yeah, it's perfectly fine, because now we have counters for tons of tamers on board. So, yeah.
Well, I think the thing that gets me with Bandai, especially now that I'm reading this, is the language they use for how they
Yeah.
ban things. For Jet Sylphie, it was decks that use this card have dominated the metagame for longer than anticipated, greatly limiting viable decks in yellow. Wouldn't that be a good reason for a bunch of other cards that we have already discussed? Wouldn't that
That
be
is
a great reason for going into blue, going into green, being like, it's dominated the meta for too long? You're basically saying that, hey, this card, it just dominated, so we're getting rid of it. But this card dominated, and, well, it's okay, it's fine.
I think it's their logic is really weird, because it's like they don't want something dominating for too long, but then as you just said, they let blue do a lot. I think they're just too lenient on blue, because they think it's too weak. It's not. They have hammer sparks at 4. I mean, Ice Wall was like, it was okay. That was like the one time they said, okay, wait, hold on, stop, stop. But like when you see almost every single top 8 having at least one, maybe 2 Melga players, you might want to look at that again. You might want to look at it, And then green, Grandis, the fact that you can just go to 18,000 with, the egg that when you digiburst it, it gives plus 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yeah, maybe you should look at that again, because the fact that you can give him 3 security checks and he has piercing and he can suspend something, yeah, you might want to look at that again, because the fact that he could just kill your 2 biggest dudes easily, like no problem, just by punching through them, like basically like they're paper. He's just like going, bam, you're dead. Yeah, you might want to look at it again. Seriously. Same
Well, and
with
even
yellow.
back to Savior Huckmon, they used the same language that it was greatly limiting viable decks in red.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, because I remember that format because it was like when I first started getting super competitive. Savior Huck was really gross. But the one thing stopping the deck was the red memory boost. Like it could search, sure, it could do it. But man, if you bricked, it was over. Like
Mm-hmm.
during that format when we had Ultimate Cups online on like here on Discord, I beat 3 Huckmon decks because they bricked for 5 turns, and that let me set up a Beelstar. That's bad. Okay, that it was there. It was there, but man, if you bricked, it was the worst thing ever. It's worse than Greymon when it bricks like that. The new
Well,
Jessamon deck is much better because you have like so much searching options. You have the option card, you have like man, you have like everything now. But like every other deck checks it. That's the problem.
well, and it feels like that language, it's limiting the viability of other decks in that color. Wouldn't that
No.
just tell Bandai, though, that you're not giving enough support to that color? Where with blue, you never have to say that because you can run 8 different blue decks and be fine. But
Yeah.
with like red, black, yellow to an extent, there's certain decks that you cannot run without its pieces, such as Doru Greymon, and they were like, nah, it's on Digivolution is what they say too powerful. It has a powerful defense effect that prevents other effects from deleting it or reducing its DP. But don't cards do that through inheritables now? Like, it seems like they're going very back and forth.
Yeah, they're being very weird about this. I don't get what their idea is. It's like you limit a deck like Alpha, but then you don't hit the actual crucial card for the. I mean, yes, a lot of people actually were saying Greymon X was a crucial piece because of the reduction in cost. But aside from that, there's also the level 5. There's also Flatware Greymon X himself, which was disgusting. The fact that when he untaps, he can delete something and he can redirect. What?
Well, and the
Like,
level 5 stops D-Digivolution.
oh yeah, and DB reduction too. So you're basically stopping both black and yellow's main way of winning. Because blacks, okay, so every color had like a gimmick to it, right? Like back when the game first started.
Mm-hmm.
Red was all about security checking. Yellow was all about DP reduction and healing. And then black was all about de-digivolving and blocking. So I get that they were trying to protect him from de-digivolving, but then it's like in a mirror, it's it's so boring because it's just whoever de-digivolves each other harder. I've played like 3 mirrors before, and it's like it's not fun. It's just hoping they don't de-digivolve you, and you have to hope to draw the level 5 to evolve. That's it.
Well, and
It's
that's
such
the
a
other thing. It's like you said, the mirror matches get boring. But even with, I know Dark Knightmon can sometimes have a good matchup against it, but you have to do it everything at the right moment.
yeah. It's
Whereas decks like Melga, yeah, you may do it at the wrong moment, but you're already building a stack in the back. You're already swinging up top. You're bouncing. You have Cocytus Breath if you absolutely really want to put it in your deck. You have so many ways to remove stuff. And I know with the red black decks, you can have the protection from bouncing. But if someone tries to bounce you 3 times in one turn, you're stripping all your sources. At that point, is it really even a Digimon anymore?
Yeah, no. The funny thing is that at nationals, I actually encountered a Melga player who was actually teching in Sorais, and I
Mm-hmm.
lost to him because of the Sorai. That card in blue actually absolutely wrecks Black War Greymon X. And funnier is that one of my recent deck profiles I did, I found a card that actually can cripple Black War Greymon's protection because it specifically says choose one card in their stack. It doesn't say trash the bottom. Choose a card in their stack and remove it. So that card will be busted in Melga. So I'm actually going to start running more copies because if they happen to put any of their Greymon X's in for protection, I'm going to remove it. And it's only 2 costs too. Yeah, that's also the thing. Blue has some of the most inherently cheap option cards in the entire game. They have insane ones, like as I mentioned, Hammer Spar. This one that I'm talking about is only two. Imagine you have a memory boost and you have the Cool Boys out. You're just like, oh hey, I'm gonna get rid of your stuff. Sucks, man. Now you can't defend.
Shake my hand. Game's over.
Yeah, it's literally game over. And even if they go, well, I'm gonna redirect your attack. I'm gonna block. Okay, he doesn't die by battle. I detach a part. Okay, cool. Swing again. Oh no, I bounced your guy. Sorry about that.
it
It's disgusting.
it's a little insane. Last
Yeah.
one I did want to cover though, because I've been reading through these pretty much all day just to see how their
Okay.
language was and what was going on with it. The last ban that we got was Calling from Darkness, and not even ban; it was restricted to one. The wording on it is one that I have. I mean, I played Magic for years, and I don't remember seeing it. I could be wrong. They could have used this wording through MTG at some point, but it says this card can delete a player's own Digimon and collect Digimon cards from a player's own trash for a low cost. Yeah, okay, that was broken. As a
No,
result, it causes various endless loops and is supporting unintended playstyles. It's those two words right there, unintended playstyles. Can you really say that anything for a card game is an unintended playstyle when you put out thousands of different cards with different effects?
yeah, no, that wording is weird because if they didn't intend it, why did they release Eismon or Scatter Mode? Because that was the whole point of that ban, along with was it recently the Minervamon loop? Yeah, you hit that, but the thing is that now all of those decks are using a different four cost option that kills the guy anyway, so it doesn't matter. And Eismon didn't care because they still have one copy and they still have four scatter modes.
Well,
What are
that's
they
the
gonna?
funny thing. Eismon didn't use that language. It just said it made it easier to anticipate, or it made it easier than anticipated to cycle through your deck. But it never said that it made an unintended play style, which is what's bugging me.
Yeah, that's really strange, honestly, because it's like, what did they want you to do with that card? Did they want you to just like kill your level six just so you could grab stuff? Because I know some of the purple level sixes do stuff, but is it like they just want you to kill your own guy in every purple deck just to benefit? Because I don't think you do that.
Yeah, true. And like you said, why print the card? If you didn't want that playstyle to happen, you could look at every other card that's come out from Lilithmon on and know that the loop you're never gonna end the loop. Someone's always gonna find a way to loop because of how you're writing these cards. So why
Ev-
say it's unintended playstyle?
Every every card game has a loop at some point. Yu-Gi-Oh had it. Now Digimon technically has it too, or it had it before, but even then it was different. Um, and then I don't know if One Piece has it yet. I don't know if it does yet.
Not really. Not the Nami deck. I guess is going to be the only one that could technically loop because you're trashing, and then once you hit no cards in deck, you win instead of lose.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. But
Yeah,
again, it's a play style that they already know is going to happen. And
yeah,
it's
like
still done by Bandai. That's the funny part about this is it looks like they're taking all their problems that they had with Digimon and going, "Hey, we're going to fix it in One Piece. We're going to fix it in, every other game we put out, but with Digimon, we're just going to leave them with some messed up wording that makes zero sense."
I think I think mainly it's the issue that so even though Digimon is a little bit more popular now, like it's kind of it's making its presence known, right? The thing is, Digimon is still more niche than One Piece, or yeah, it's still more niche than One Piece. Like I know almost any anime fan will be like, oh yeah, I know One Piece. Yeah, like everybody's seen it or read it or done something, with that series before. So it's a little bit more well recognized compared to Digimon, which has had like 25 years of like struggling. Like
I mean, it
like
battled with Pokemon for the longest time. When I was a kid, Saturday morning cartoons, I actually watched Pokemon over Digimon and Yu Gi Oh! Over Digimon.
oh, I watched Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh over Pokemon because Pokemon was just the same thing over and over.
Repetitive is good sometimes.
Yeah. But for Digimon, I like that they did the different plots. But the problem is that because they were trying to innovate so hard, they lost a lot of fans back then. But then it's like with the card game. No, the weirder thing is that the card game in Japan never petered out. It just kept going. It just kept like making new versions of itself. And this is just the newest in the long line of card games. It's just that here in the TCG, we only had that one that came out in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and then it just died. And then they kept trying to bring it back and it never happened. So it's like finally Digimon's getting success, but at the same time, it's not making as much success as like One Piece. Like as you said, like some of those One Piece cards are worth like hundreds. While like Digimon, the only card I can think of that's in the hundreds is Death X, but that's because Death X is a super busted card in the game
I
because it just
actually
wipes.
think Death X has dropped under 100 finally.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
then there's no card that's over 100 because everybody has a lot of like especially now Digimon finally has more distribution. Like everybody has the cards finally, right? So it's not as hard to find the cards. One Piece right now, I feel like it will drop in price once you guys get more distribution. I feel once you get that, the cards will drop hard because it's the same thing with Digimon. Digimon had hella expensive cards before, and then everything just dropped.
Yeah, it's market price right now is $82 for Death X. Median price is $90. The
Ugh,
last sale was $80 today,
damn. Yeah, no. See, that's
and
that's
that's
too
the
expensive.
alt art.
Oh, okay. Alt art makes sense. But like normal, what? It's like 20, $30 still?
Death X normal. I can't imagine it would be that much. 45.
Oh, damn. They dropped hard because originally when I last I looked at it like a month ago, it was like 60 something. And then the AA, which I have like 3 copies of, it was worth like 100 something.
Mm-hmm. And
I think
that's
it's dropped because of the Ultimate Cup. That's probably why.
yeah. No one's really trying to buy it to put in. Well, because you can't put it in anything that's playable.
No, nope, can't use it.
So what do you think the likelihood? Because I've heard this everywhere, and I'm pretty sure it's just a joke. What do you think the likelihood? Because this goes on to effect on April 1st, they're just gonna be like, haha, April Fools, we tricked you all. It's not
Got
actually the list.
him.
do you,
Nah, they'll stick with it. They'll
they'll
stick
stick
with
with
it
it.
because if not, and they change it, oh man, people are gonna eviscerate them for that because it's like, why did you even like? No, people will be asking, why did you even put that first list out then? They have to double down on this list specifically.
So you
If they
don't see another list coming for months now then. Or I can't even say list. You don't see another card being added to this for months.
not months, I would say they're probably gonna look at BT12 and maybe be like, hey, maybe that deck is a little bit broken because BT12 brings two, three new decks technically. Yeah, three new decks. Yeah, so one of those is gonna be busted. Maybe two of them. So they'll be like, they might pull a crossheart on it, and like BT10 and just hit it immediately. But that's a chance. There's a chance. I
So
don't
is
know.
it more likely that the new Hunter deck gets the cross treatment or gets like the Melga treatment where it's like, it's fine?
I feel like it'll get the crossheart treatment. They'll hit one of the level fives because one of them specifically says when it attacks, it doesn't suspend. So you're getting two attacks no matter what. So I feel they might hit that card because it's really easy to get it out and really easy to get the four cards underneath it. So I think you should. I think they might hit it. Honestly, I feel they might hit it
Honestly, at this point, I put nothing past Bandai to
to fuck it
anything.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to mess up the entire thing.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like they might fuck it up and just leave it and just like come back in like 6 months, as you mentioned, and just be like, oh, we forgot. Sorry. Let's deal with it real quick.
Pull a Kanye. I'm gonna let you all finish your game, but this card, this card, this card, this card, they're illegal now.
Oh yeah. They're most likely they're gonna do that. But for now, we just kind of chill and wait for it. It's weird. They're never consistent. They
No.
the ban list came out of nowhere. I didn't even know they were gonna do a ban list out of nowhere like this.
Yeah, and well, the fact that it was like a week ago, they're like, yeah, big news coming, ban list, and it was one card. You can't even call this a list. It's banned card or restricted card.
Yeah, it's very weird. Like it's just no, like I thought it said banned for a second when I read it, but then it said restricted to one, and I was like, you couldn't even give us one ban card. You had to
Yep.
just give us a limit. Okay, whatever. There,
It's
every deck is still gonna run one copy of it no matter what, but they're just gonna replace the other three. That's it. That's the only change they're gonna do.
Yep. And the deck's still going to be just as powerful. Like, I don't feel like this makes much of a difference other than, yeah, you slow down the evolution, but who cares? If you evolve it in the back, you still have it to come up later. Or if you have two cool boys on board, you're good either way.
And you have like 12 to 10 searchers in your deck, the rookies, the cool boys, the red memory boost, everything.
Mm-hmm.
You
So,
have there's too many sources. There's too many things to use.
short of it being in security, you will find it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I've been able to search and or draw into everything I needed every time. It might be slower, but I mean, I played Black War Greymon or Galmon before this. It's just as fast, maybe even more. Like it's faster now with the new support because Greymon X reducing the cost makes it like way faster and not having to pass turn. But I've passed turns by turning into Metal Greymon and killing their rookie, so it's not like I haven't done it before.
Yeah.
Like every Greymon player is gonna be like, okay, I guess I go back to BT9 basically. Okay,
Basically, it's a minor inconvenience. That's about it.
that's it. I don't think it's gonna make a difference, honestly. The meta is gonna stay the same. It's gonna still be pretty stale at this point, most likely. So, well, until set 12 comes out, but that's not until like next month.
Unless that gets pushed back, and then who knows?
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about their delays. Yeah, so yeah, the meta is gonna probably get stale. That's what I'm predicting, honestly.
Well, you guys hear it here first, Analog Man. It gets stale. That's the final decision.
I mean, I'm shifting over to Pokemon for now while I wait. That's how bad it's getting.
Oof. Well, we've enjoyed talking. We will be here next Friday again with another Unscripted Fridays, covering a few other games as well as Digimon. Hopefully, there's no more crazy news about Digimon, so we can all just start playing normally.
Yeah.
But other than that, thank you guys for coming out. Make sure you go check out Analog's YouTube channel in the description below. And we will see you all next time. Thank you much.